What's up guys, it's Ruffle, and today I'm making a video on the best Crimson Web knives that could exist. Now, I've gone into an offline version of CSGO where you can create your own knives and sort of try them out in game and see what they look like. So for the Karambit, I chose this one. Obviously it's got a flawless corner, but the best webbing for me is when there's just one web perfectly centered like this one is. I always think that this is kind of cool because it just really stands out, whereas if there are multiple webs on the place side, it kind of, you know, they're not going to be as nicely placed. And then obviously there's a web on the back side as well. So this for me is the dream knife, just a flawless corner Karambit Crimson Web with a really sick web. The next coolest knife in my opinion is the M9 Crimson Web with 3 playside webs. Now, it's always kind of hard to get 3 playside webs like this on an M9 because it basically only just fits on the blade, so you know, if it changes a bit then one of them goes off the edge or something like that. Now again, you can sort of see on this one as the 3 big webs and they're all on the place side, and it's always nice when they're all vertically aligned. You can kind of like see, you could put a ruler down the middle of these and it would just stay in a line, which is like kind of how you identify a really nice Crimson Web. Well, at least for the M9 and the Bayonets, but this one's really fucking sick just because it has the 3 webs in a line. So if you're ever going for a god tier Crimson Web, this is kind of what you're going to be looking for. So next up is the Bayonet. Now, the nice thing about this Bayonet is I actually have this one, except mine's obviously in minimal wear, so it's nowhere near as clean, but I love this. Again, it's the same thing as the M9 where you have the perfect 3 webs in one line. Again, you can put like a ruler and you'll see it. It'll just be in one straight line, and it's so nice just seeing them like this, all just straight. And for me, this is the best. This is probably my favorite knife in the game. I really love the Bayonet now. You know, when you pull it out, you have like this sick flick animation, which I just love, and then obviously with the webs, and if it was hypothetically this clean, it would just be insane. Now, the cool thing about the Bowie is that it's mirrored, meaning that the play side and the back side are the exact same. I tried looking around for a triple web Bowie like this. Again, it's sort of like the M9 and the Bayonet, where the best webbing is when they're all in one straight line on the blade, but it's really hard to find one. The best one I found was kind of at an angle instead of perfectly, I guess, horizontal along the blade. But this is the best one that I found that could exist, where you have, again, this triple web pattern, and it's really cool, again, because it's mirrored. So the next knife is the Butterfly Crimson Web. Now, this one obviously has the 3 webs in a line, but it's kind of sad with the Butterfly because the blade is pretty small, so any webs that are on the Butterfly, kind of, because they're really small, it's nowhere near as nice. So this is, whilst the Butterfly is one of my favorite knives, the Crimson Web, like if I was gonna try and get a really sick webbed collection, I probably wouldn't go with a Butterfly, you know, because it's just the webs are so small and it's just kind of sad. So this is the Falchion. Now this is kind of a special one, to be honest, because if you look at it, you can kind of see on the middle of the blade, then the bit to the right of the stat track counter, and then all the way on the bottom of the knife, if you look in the bottom right section, which kind of off screen now, but you can see that there are in fact 4 webs on the play side of this knife. Now, I wonder if you could get 5 webs. I looked around for quite some time to see if you could get it, because the Falchion's a pretty long knife, but unfortunately I couldn't find any. But in theory, this would be the best Falchion. I know, Falchions are kind of like an omega lol, like who the fuck cares about Falchions? But I don't know, I still think it's pretty cool, especially since you know, I can't think of any other knives that can have 4 webs on them like this. So yeah, it's a pretty cool piece. The next knife for the best webbing is this flip knife. Now, the reason I think this one's the best is because it has that one centered play side web, but then it also has like these small sub webs as well, which obviously are in a line, so it kind of like makes this one look even bigger as a web. And again, it's perfectly centered, and then also on the back side has 2 webs there as well, which is really nice. And I really like the flip knife. Same sort of thing as the Bayonet. You know, it's just kind of cool, like a little, I don't know, I think it's really cool. The next knife is the gut knife. Now, again, sort of the same situation as the Falchion, where I would imagine you're like, Ruffle, no one fucking cares about a gut knife. And I feel you, but the thing that makes this gut knife special is, again, the triple webs, but these actually aren't in a line. Now, this is really, really rare as a pattern, so if you ever see this, you should be able to get quite substantial overpay for it, because the way this pattern works is it's one line that is two webs connecting, and then the beginning of a separate webbing pattern. So this is where the pattern starts like repeating, but it's not in one line, if that kind of makes sense. So it's two separate things, which is really, really rare. And I love that because it's imperfect, because it's not one line, it almost like curves around. It curves around the blade, which makes it kind of nice. And I used to own a gut knife with this exact pattern in minimal wear, low float minimal wear. And I think I ended up selling it for like triple market price. So even though it's a gut knife, it's still definitely very, very cool. Last but not least is the Shadow Daggers Crimson Web. Now, again, these kind of suffer from the same thing as the butterfly, where the scaling of the pattern on here means that the webs are going to be really, really small regardless. Either way, these are, I guess, the best webbing ones that I could find, but it's kind of irrelevant because, again, the webs are really, really small, so they're kind of hard to see, and they may as well just be like the smaller webs on the M9 and the Bayonet and all of the other ones where the webs are bigger. It may as well just, it's basically just a small web. So these, I mean, I wouldn't even say that there are any god tier ones because they're barely webs anyway, which is kind of sad because, you know, the butt plugs are kind of cool anyway. The next knife that I'm going to talk about is the Huntsman, and again, 3 webs in one line. I do wonder whether it would be possible to get 4 webs, but if you were to get 4 webs, this web would have to be like, god damn it, this web would have to be like here, and then the last web would have to be here. So I don't even know if that would look that good because it would be really on the edge, but it'd still be kind of cool to see whether it's possible. This one, I mean, this one's just perfect. It's too bad you can't get 0.00x crimson webs, because then they'd just be the best knife by far.